Bird helps deer break abscess. Minutes later, something terrible happens. The forest woke gently that morning. Mist hung low between the birch trunks and the air smelled of wet earth and moss. Beneath one of those white trees stood a young doe, her head low, her breath shallow. On her neck, just below the jawline, a round swelling pulsed faintly with each heartbeat. Raw, red, and glistening beneath a film of moisture. She had been standing like that for hours. Every few minutes she flicked her ear, more from discomfort than from the flies that gathered on her wound. Her legs trembled slightly. The pain had dulled her movements into stillness, the kind of stillness that carries both endurance and surrender. A sound came from above, the dry whisper of wings brushing against a birch branch. A small bird, a thrush, brown-backed and speckled, and had landed quietly. Its head tilted once, then again, as if studying the trembling creature below. The deer's tail flicked once, a weary signal of awareness. The bird hopped closer, landing on a low branch that leaned near the doe's shoulder. From there it could see the swelling clearly, see the flies, the cracked skin, the faint quiver of pain beneath the fur. It hesitated only a moment, then fluttered down, landing softly on the doe's back. The deer froze but did not run. Perhaps she was too tired to move, or perhaps she felt that the presence was not a threat. The thrush began to peck, small, careful motions, each one testing the surface. The abscess trembled and a thin line of fluid began to break through. The smell was sharp and sour. The bird worked quickly, its instincts guiding it toward release. Then a soft sound, a subtle tear of skin giving way. The abscess burst. A slow trickle slid down the doe's neck, dark against the pale fur. The bird stepped back, wings half open, as if startled by its own doing. The deer shuddered once, then drew a long breath, the kind that carries pain leaving the body. She shook her head, sending a faint mist of dew into the air. For the first time in days, her neck felt light. The thrush landed again, closer to her face now, watching. From a distance, a forest ranger paused on the trail. Through his binoculars, he saw what he could not believe. A wild bird tending to a wounded deer. He lowered the lenses slowly, eyes soft with wonder. "Nature's mercy," he murmured, the words barely audible over the morning wind. The deer began to graze weakly, her movements slow but steadier. The thrush remained nearby, hopping in the grass, picking at insects drawn to the scent. For a brief moment, they shared the same rhythm, two wild lives caught in the fragile stillness between pain and peace. As the sun broke through the birch canopy, it painted them in soft gold, the bird glinting with motion, the deer standing tall once more. For the forest, it was only another quiet morning, but for these two, it was the beginning of something both tender and uncertain. The air grew warm, and the thrush finally lifted away, circling once before disappearing into the trees. The doe lifted her head to watch it go. Beneath her neck, the wound glistened, an open, yes, but no longer a prison of pain. And for a few calm minutes before the world changed again, the forest seemed to hold its breath. The sun had risen fully now, spilling through the birch canopy in slow golden stripes. The deer stood beneath it, head bowed toward the ground, pulling at small shoots of grass. Her movements were gentle, almost grateful. The wound on her neck oozed faintly, but the pressure was gone. Each breath came easier. The thrush still lingered nearby, hopping between roots, occasionally darting up to catch the insects that gathered near the damp soil. The forest was quiet except for the sigh of wind through leaves and the rhythmic chewing of the deer. Relief had settled into the air, thin, trembling like mist over water. Yet the forest never stays still for long. Beneath that calm, other lives were stirring. A crow called from afar, one sharp note, then silence. Somewhere in the tall grass, a movement. A sound of something heavier than the breeze. The deer froze mid-chew, head lifting, ears flicking toward the sound. The bird stilled too, crouching low among the leaves. The rustle came again, a short, dragging noise followed by the low crunch of a paw against dry twigs. From the edge of the clearing, a shape emerged, lean, slow, and deliberate. A stray dog, ribs showing through its fur, eyes fixed on the deer. It had wandered here from a nearby village, wild with hunger and solitude. The deer took one uncertain step backward. Her wound stung as she moved. The bird gave a low, startled flutter, landing on a higher branch. The dog paused, sniffing the air. The scent of blood was faint but distinct, pulling it forward. It lowered its head, tail stiff, muscles tight with hesitation and need. The forest watched in silence. From the distant ridge, the ranger saw the shift, the body language of fear in both creatures. He began to move down through the brush, his boots silent against the damp moss. His heart beat faster, not from panic, but from that quiet urgency known only to those who've seen wild mercy interrupted by hunger. The deer turned, her hooves scraping against roots. The dog advanced, growling softly, not yet attack but warning. The bird, now high in the birch, gave a sharp cry as if trying to split the tension. For a heartbeat, everything hung in balance. The wounded deer, the starving dog, the man still yards away. Then in a flash of instinct, the deer bolted. Her legs carried her fast across the clearing, but not fast enough. Pain shot through her neck. Her stride faltered. The dog lunged. Its claws scraped against the bark of a fallen log as it slipped in the chase. The sound broke the stillness wide open. Wings burst from trees, leaves spun into air. "Hey!" The ranger's voice echoed, sharp but not cruel. He raised his arms, shouting again. The dog stopped, panting, startled by the human presence. Its ribs heaved as it looked once at the deer disappearing into the thicket, then back at the man. "Go on," he said, softer now. "Go." The dog turned and ran the other way, vanishing into the birch shadows. Silence returned, but not the same silence as before. It was heavier now, a silence that remembered movement, fear, and the thin line between mercy and danger. The ranger walked slowly to where the deer had stood. The grass was flattened, darkened with a few drops of blood. He looked around but saw only the quiet curve of the forest and the small thrush returning to its branch, watching once more from above. The air smelled of rain coming. The forest waited again, calm on the surface, yet holding the faint echo of what had almost been lost. Far ahead, hidden among the ferns, the deer limped deeper into the woods. The wound had reopened slightly, but she was alive. The bird followed her flight, its calls fading softly into the thickening air. Two fragile lives carried again into uncertainty. By late afternoon, clouds had gathered above the birch grove. The deer moved slowly now, her breath uneven, her wound reopened and raw. She found a hollow beneath a fallen tree and sank into it, the earth cool and forgiving. The first drops of rain touched her back, gentle, steady, without hurry. The forest grew quiet except for the soft hiss of water through leaves. A small thrush appeared again, feathers darkened by rain, and landed beside her. The deer's eyes followed it faintly. Her chest rose, fell, then steadied. The pain that once shook her had eased into stillness. Rain slid down her fur, washing the wound clean. The bird stood close, unmoving, as if to keep her company through the last moments of light. Far away, the ranger searched the trails, calling softly into the trees. When he finally found her, the rain had almost stopped. She lay peacefully, her head resting on wet moss, the bird still near. He removed his hat and whispered, "Rest easy, girl." His words faded into the quiet rhythm of dripping leaves. The thrush gave one small call, sharp, brief, then rose into the mist. Its wings cut through the last of the rain, disappearing into silver air. The forest stilled again. Water pooled beneath the birch roots, and somewhere in the distance, sunlight began to break through the clouds, and in that light, soft and fleeting, the deer seemed no longer wounded, only returned to the wild she came from.